Hey everyone, this is going to be just a very brief kind of an update video. I just wanted to do this really quickly because I've gotten a couple of questions recently, and also I've had a few weird things going on with this particular case recently. I apologize for the rain in the background. It's actually raining pretty hard here right now, and I don't really have any way to filter that out. If I try to remove that noise from the background, it makes my audio sound really tin canny and everything. So I'm just going to not worry about it. I don't believe that it's really going to affect the video too much. And I'm planning on doing a couple of videos tonight, so you're probably going to hear that rain in the background. But I don't think it'll be too terribly distracting, so we're just going to work with it. Anyway, I have had a couple of strange things happen around Summerwells' case. So a couple of nights ago, and it was weird too because somebody literally just asked me about it like the day after this happened. So a couple of nights ago, I had this dream where I was standing out in the middle of the woods, and I kept hearing a little girl calling me. And I was looking around and I couldn't really see anything, and then all of a sudden Summerwells was just standing there in front of me. And she was trying to talk to me, but I couldn't understand what she was saying. Now, as always, you guys, these are just my opinions and interpretations of what I'm hearing, seeing, and feeling, okay? So this, I'm just letting you know what has kind of come through to me. So anyway, that one was relatively brief because I couldn't understand what she was saying. She was standing kind of far away from me. It was kind of misty and not really foggy, but just kind of misty. I don't really know how else to explain it. And so I couldn't see her very well, and I couldn't hear her very well. Well, then the next night I had another dream where I was sitting in the kitchen of their house, and there was a table, and I was sitting in this kind of like, I don't know, like a metal chair, sort of like a folding chair, I guess. And her mother, Candace Bly, was sitting across from me. And she was just kind of like dead staring me like she does with that dead stare that she does when she talks to people. And I was interrogating her. I was asking her, what did you do to Summer? Where did you put that little girl? And stuff like that. And I was being very mean. Like, I was not being kind to her at all. And she was just kind of staring at me. Summer's dad was standing like behind me, like leaning against a wall. And it was just a very strange vibe, just a very weird energy that I was getting, and neither one of them was really answering me. They were just kind of glaring at me. So then I kind of started to wake up, and I was kind of halfway between this like dream state and a waking state. It was almost like a state akin to sleep if you've watched my other video on the dream state. But yeah, I was kind of halfway between asleep and awake, and I started having this vision. And in the vision, I was standing behind the house, and I was looking at the door that led to Summer's room down there in the basement. And I am not usually willing to say this about any visions or anything like that because no psychic is right all the time. And it's very difficult to ever be 100% positive about anything you're seeing or feeling because, you don't know that you're understanding everything that's going on in a vision and things like that. But because of this particular instance and because of the intensity of the feeling that I get when I look at this house, I am going to say I am 100% positive that that little girl died in that house. That Summer absolutely died in her house. And I know that that is not groundbreaking information. I know a lot of people already think that and have already assumed that. But regardless of whether I'm seeing it in a vision or in a dream, or if I'm looking at actual pictures online, I just get the most intense feeling that I've ever had about someone actually meeting their demise inside of a particular location. Like, there's some situations where obviously the person was killed there. The kids in Idaho, unfortunately, obviously that they were murdered in their house. But a lot of these other cases, you don't know 100% for sure what happened because that information hasn't come out. And like I said, I know it's not groundbreaking information or anything like that. I know a lot of people already believe that. But this is one of the only things that I'm willing to say. I am 100% certain that little girl died in that house. Okay, now in this vision, I walk into the house and I'm, seeing it in like first person, so I don't actually see myself. I just see the scene in front of me. So I walk into the house through the basement door and I see Candace coming down the stairs. And I see Summer, she's climbing a shelving unit or something like that. I think that it's shelves. And she's trying to get to something higher up on the shelves. And Candace gets very angry and she comes over and she grabs Summer and just yanks her down off of that shelf. And in the process of yanking her down off the shelf, she's yelling at her. She's saying, "How many times have I told you not to do that?" and things like that. And as she's yanking her down off the shelf, I see Summer's head twist to the side. I don't know if it's because of the way that she yanked her down or how exactly that happened. It's a very quick movement. And this is something that I had mentioned before in my first update video on summerwells. I had just briefly been able to connect with Summer and she had told me that her mama had hurt her neck. So I'm somewhat seeing that. And it looks like Candace grabs her by the back of her neck. Like, I think something might have already happened to her when she yanked her down, the way that she yanked her down. But then she grabs her by the back of her neck and she kind of spins her around. And they struggle a little bit. I think that she might have actually grabbed her and Candace might have grabbed Summer and choked her a little bit. And then she just kind of tosses her on the floor. So once again, this is not groundbreaking. I'm not 100% certain if Summer's neck got dislocated or if maybe she broke her neck. Maybe she just dislocated it a little bit and then when she choked her, she actually caused some other damage in her neck or something of that nature. And then when she tosses her onto the floor, I feel like she's just, I'm not saying that she's gone at that point, but I think whatever damage happened to her neck during the yanking her down and grabbing her by the back of the neck and spinning her around and all of that, whatever occurred during that instance is what caused her to die. So I think that she, kind of tossed her on the ground thinking that, Summer was going to lay there and cry a little bit maybe or something like that. But instead, she just never got up. At that point, I believe that Candace hesitated for a minute. She didn't know if something had actually happened to Summer, if she was actually gone. She thought maybe she was just faking it or something like that. I don't really know what's going through her head at that point. But based on what I'm seeing, she just kind of sits there and stares at her for a little bit, waiting for her to move or something. But within a matter of seconds, Summer stops breathing. And it doesn't look to me like she even tries to do anything. It doesn't look like she tries to help her or she tries to do anything. Actually, what I see is she throws this I don't know if it's a mat or some kind of thin mattress thing or something like that. It doesn't look like a blanket. It's not that flexible, but she tosses this thing over Summer. And then she starts acting like Summer is gone, like she can't find her. I think maybe in that moment she got the idea to be like, hey, Summer is gone, something happened to her. Well, I know that she had mentioned in one of her videos that as soon as she couldn't find Summer, she sent the boys off into the woods or she sent them off somewhere to go look for her. And I think that was just a diversion. I think that she was sending the boys away so that she would have time this is actually what I'm seeing, that she would have time to come back in and get Summer's body and take Summer's body to her car. because I had mentioned in my first brief video that when Candace had said that she had driven down into the holler to look for Summer, and I said that I thought that was one of the things that maybe was actually a small amount of truth, except for she wasn't going down there to look for Summer. She was going down there to take Summer into the holler, to put her somewhere down there. So I think that she used this opportunity to, for the boys to be gone, supposedly looking for Summer, to take Summer's body and put it into her car. And then once she had everybody else convinced that Summer was gone, and she had everybody else looking for Summer, and allegedly she had already called 911 at that point. I don't really know. I didn't actually see that part. But I do see her then driving down into the holler. And unfortunately, I don't see where she actually took Summer or where she put Summer. But at that point, my vision changes. And then I'm kind of back in the woods, standing in the woods where I was in the dream that I had. And now Summer is standing there, and she's standing right next to me. And she takes my hand, and we walk down this little, kind of like a little hill, a little bit. And there's like a little pond, or I guess you would call it a little pond. The water is very murky. It's almost like a gray color, kind of. It doesn't look like normal water, so I think it's a very stagnant pond. And she takes me, and we walk down into the pond. And the only thing that I'm really seeing around this pond is there's a tree that's right next to the pond. There's lots of trees by the pond, but there's one particular tree that's by the pond that's kind of like a forked tree. It looks like it was one tree that grew up into two trunks. I'm not really sure how to explain that, but it's kind of like a forked tree. So it looks like it could be one tree, but it grows up in two separate trunks, kind of forms like a V. And it's right there next to the pond. And I feel like Summer is there. Like she's in the water, deep in the water, but she's near that tree. And that's really all that I see. I don't know exactly how Candace got her into the water. I don't know how she managed to keep her down under the water so that she, so her little body didn't just float right back up. But this is somewhat consistent with the limited vision that I had before, because at the end of that, I had mentioned that I felt like I was in water. And even back during that initial vision, I felt like I was in dirty, murky water. And this is the same thing that I'm seeing now. So I tried to look on Google Earth, and I tried to get a better idea of where this little pond could possibly be. But unfortunately, when I look on Google Earth, the only thing that you can see is trees. Like, you can't even see any of the little ponds or anything down there. And at first, I wasn't even sure that there was anything like that. But then I managed to find a couple of YouTube videos, old YouTube videos, where people had gone down into that area, basically the area that they're calling the holler or whatever. And they had been able to show that down these little roads and everything back in this area, that there are actually several little ponds back there. So I don't think that this is unreasonable to think that she's down there in one of those ponds. I don't know how much law enforcement actually did with this. I don't know if they actually drained any of those ponds. I did hear somebody say at one point that they had sent some divers into some of the ponds, but from what I understand, there's actually quite a few of them down there. So at this point in time, this is what I'm seeing and what I'm feeling around Summer's case. I think that it was either, maybe her neck was dislocated and her spinal cord got severed or something like that, or maybe it was the choking, or maybe it was a combination of the both. But I definitely feel like something happened to her neck. I definitely I'm 100% certain she died in that house. That's the only thing that I'm willing to say that I'm 100% certain on. But then I really, really feel like she is in water, dirty, murky, stagnant water. So that's really all I have on that at the moment, you guys. And I'm sorry that it's not better. I'm sorry that it's not more detailed and that I can't 100% pinpoint where this pond is that I think that I'm seeing. The thing that really gets me about these type of situations is I always feel like if I could go there and I could see the actual location, that maybe I would actually be able to say, yes, that's what I'm seeing. But I don't, I don't have any way to go there. So this is all I can really do for now. Just give you guys my updates on what I see and feel. And, I know it's been over a year since Summer's been missing at this point, so I don't know that we're ever going to be able to get any more information or find this poor little girl. But, basically I'm just trying to do anything that I possibly can, because you never know what might help and what might bring some new evidence or information, or might spark something in somebody's memory, So anyway, just a short update. I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up. If I get anything more for you guys, I will definitely let you know. But in the meantime, thank you so much for listening. I'm planning on doing at least a couple of more videos tonight, so I'll get those posted as quickly as I can. And yeah, thank you. Bye.